videos. Well, I'm here to tell you, it ain't looking like it's day-to-day no more. And Stephanie White spoke to the media yesterday, and she had to tell the truth. And the truth is, she don't really have a timetable as to when Caitlin Clark is going to return. Now, we have another case of Stephanie White speaking to the media. This time, she's forced to admit the obvious. We know lately they've been saying Caitlin Clark injury is going to be day-to-day and all these different scenarios. Now, I did ample videos yesterday breaking it down. All this day-to-day stuff is simply for the birds. The doctors themselves stated Caitlin Clark is going to be a week-to-week basis.
Why would a WNBA coach seemingly celebrate their star player's injury? Stephanie White's shocking comments about Caitlin Clark's absence have fans outraged. Did she just admit the team is better off without her? Let's break down this controversial statement and figure out what it really means for Clark's future with the Indiana Fever. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. And
based on the MRI. Now, granted, none of us is going to know what the results of the MRI is going to be. We have to wait to see what they tell us. Tomorrow against the New York Liberty, which is today. New York injuries report is clean, moving. Jonquel Jones is officially slated for return. But we do know Caitlin Clark has decided to go get her own doctors, possibly in New York. Yes, in New York. Now, it's looking real spooky in New York right now because Caitlin Clark is definitely looking like that's possibly could be where she going, dog.
Imagine this. Your star player gets injured, the centerpiece of your team, and instead of worry or even the usual next player up talk, your coach calls it a relief. That's exactly what Stephanie White said after Caitlin Clark's injury left her sideline. For fans, it felt like a slap in the face. The comment, "It gave the team relief and helped them focus," sparked immediate outrage. How could White say something like that? And why would she even try to spin Clark's absence as a positive? What makes this even more shocking is how deliberate it all seemed. Clark's injury wasn't some freak accident that blindsided everybody. The buildup and her eventual removal from the lineup had been coming. It wasn't even hidden, almost as if White had time to think about her response.
They finna lose very bad. This might be the worst game of the year, dog. Your boy John Liquidator always gonna keep it real. I'm not finna lie to you, bro. Jonquel Jones coming back. You seen how bad they lost last time without Jonquel Jones? So Jonquel Jones is coming back. Now look, I'm telling y'all like this, do not be mad at me. The Indiana Fever is about to get slaughtered, belt to ass. I'm talking 20 to 30 point win, bro. Jonquel Jones coming back. It's about to be a massacre, bro. I just gotta be honest. Now, she goes on to say, Stephanie White says, there is no update on Caitlin. Yes, she very much said that.
That's what makes her words feel less like a slip-up and more like a window into her true mindset. When White talked about relieved players and improved team dynamics, it left fans wondering, does she actually prefer a team without Clark leading the charge? White's reasoning for the comment goes deeper than just one phrase. She brought up topics like better ball movement, quicker defensive adjustments, and heightened effort across the board. Sure, those are valid basketball points, but when you say them in the same breath as dismissing a player like Clark, widely regarded as a generational talent, you're sending a much different message.
It's week to week, and it's looking real spooky. Now, this also came out yesterday that Caitlin Clark did not practice with the team. Hell, at this point, Caitlin Clark need to be on crutches, one of them little wheel things with the little, because she got to quit lying. The truth is the truth. And I just hate that we had to even deal with this whole debacle of this day-to-day situation. We know it ain't no damn day-to-day, bro.
Yesterday, but has Caitlin met with the doctors? Do you guys have any update on Caitlin's status?
No updates. I think she's meeting with some doctors today and tomorrow. So no updates in addition to yesterday.
Instead of showing concern for the player that elevates everything about your team, the spotlight shifted to how the team might function better without her. That's a pretty bold thing to suggest about someone who's done so much for the Fever already this season. And it's not just about sportsmanship. Tons of studies, and even the way franchises traditionally approach their stars, prove that teams are built around pivotal players for a reason.
Which means that, so basically the type of injury that Caitlin Clark has, this happens to a lot of NFL players, bro. A lot of NFL players get this little growing injury. And right then and there, she has confirmed that Caitlin Clark will be meeting with specialists in New York. Now, some of the doctors I believe that I dropped the video on is up in New York. They're professional athlete doctors.
Star athletes like Clark don't just play, they inspire and lead. Publicly downplaying that, even unintentionally, affects the team's morale. But this could be just one part of a bigger picture. Does Stephanie White's attitude reflect a larger plan to reshape this roster? If so, that's a strategy packed with risk. But here's what's even riskier: her actions after Clark's return. Let's talk about it. If you thought the relief comment was shocking, wait until you hear what Stephanie White did when Caitlin Clark returned from her injury. Instead of re-establishing Clark as the centerpiece of the offense, White shifted her role entirely. She moved Clark off the ball and inserted Aari McDonald into the starting lineup alongside her. For many fans, it looked like a deliberate choice to limit Clark's influence on the court. And it didn't take long for people to question why White was sidelining the player, who is, without a doubt, the face of the franchise. Clark isn't just any player. She's a dynamic force, someone who can change the outcome of a game single-handedly. Her return should have been an opportunity for the team to lean into that and build around her strengths. Instead, White emphasized team-wide performance, talking about improved ball movement and defensive effort when Clark wasn't the focal point during her absence. These comments suggested a troubling pattern, one where Clark seemed less like the leader of the team and more like a piece of the puzzle that White was willing to push aside. The decision doesn't just raise eyebrows, it calls White's entire coaching philosophy into question. In pro sports, franchise players are built around for a reason. Studies and examples from countless teams show that emphasizing your stars fuels success not only on the court, but in creating a winning culture. By minimizing Clark's impact, White risks alienating a player who could be pivotal to the team's future. It's an approach some critics have described as player suppression disguised as coaching strategy, and for good reason. It sends the message that Clark isn't a priority, which is a dangerous road to take with a generational talent. White's adjustments and public statements keep adding to the tension. Whether it's tactical changes or emphasizing the team's success without Clark, it's hard to ignore the bigger picture, that White's vision for this team may not have Clark at the center. Does this mean White isn't just clashing with her star, but actively holding the team back? That's where things get even more complicated. Stephanie White's approach to Caitlin Clark isn't just questionable, it might be intentional. Her comments about improved ball movement and defense without Clark, combined with decisions that diminish Clark's role, suggest a deliberate push to redefine the team's identity. But how does that work if it sidelines their biggest star? Teams like the Spurs and Warriors, for example, thrive by centering superstars like Tim Duncan and Steph Curry. White's strategy feels like a gamble against proven success. If she can't embrace Clark's generational talent, what future does the Fever have? The clock's ticking. Can they turn things around, or will chaos continue?